How you doing? This video, I'm going to talk to you about what it's really like, genuinely like, the complete and utter truth, no holds barred, what it's like to work for Paultons Park. So I'll give you a bit of a backstory on it. Working in a theme park is something that I've always wanted to do. I was a massive fan of Chessington growing up, the Vampire Ride and the Bubble Works, you know, and everything else. And I always wanted to be a ride operator. And there was a time where I was training to do support work, and I was doing bank staff work with that. And I wanted something to take my time on days that I was free and stuff like that. And then I saw an advert for it online, and I thought, it's only 25 minutes from my house. I'm going to apply. And I applied for a role as a ride operator. And I was completely shocked. Completely shocked. For good reasons. I filled out an online application, sent it off, and I think it was about 3 days later they asked me to go for an interview. I went to Paultons Park. It was out of season. I went in the January. I believe it was January, might have been February. I think it was January, but I can't be 100% sure. And that was going to be for the 2023 season. I was interviewed by a supervisor called Amy, who was amazing. And we went through, there was like different tables, and we done teamwork, team building, sort of like group sessions. And we had to put different things in different orders, and it was fun because you're meeting with people, and and I was one of the oldest people there. They're all kids. I say kids, they're all like 18, 19, and like there's me sitting there like, I'm 40, you know. I'm 41, I think I was. Yeah, I was 41. And I'm thinking, no, I was 40. Yeah, I was 40, almost 41. And I remember thinking, okay, and she asked me a bit about myself. We had a really good conversation actually, and told her how many days I was able to do a week. And then I went, and I thought, okay, everything crossed. And it was the following day. I think it was the following day. I got an email to say that I'd been successful. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be a ride operator. Do you know what I mean? So we then went through and had sort of like an induction day with a manager, Danny. I think her name was Danny. And again, really professional, really approachable, really nice. And I'm thinking, okay, so far, everybody that I've met, even there was a guy from HR there, everyone that I've spoken to, it's been really, really good. And we went in there and we had an induction day, and you're talking about different bits and pieces. And I think there was 2 of them. Was there 2? I'm trying to think. I want to get this right. I think there was 2. There was one of them with another supervisor, Jordan, who's an absolute legend as far as I'm concerned, just like Amy. Yeah, and then... Do we have 2? We'll go with 1. No, there was 2. I'm so sorry, there was 2. I had one with Jordan, where we was going over bits and pieces, and there was like a more intense one with Danny. And then we went out with a team leader. So you've got team lead, you've got your normal staff, your ride operators, then you've got team leaders, supervisors, and then you've got the management. So the supervisors and up, permanent contracted jobs all year round. Everyone else is just seasonal, okay? The team leaders had been working there for seasons, so they knew everything inside out. I can't remember the girl's, I think it was Maya. I think her name was Maya, one of the team leaders that I had, and I went out with myself, and there was 3 others, and we went round to every single ride, and they show you all around the park. And it was a good day. Everybody was approachable. And then you can see other team leaders taking taking other people around, and you're thinking, oh, they're new as well. You know, so it was good. When I started working there, they do it on levels. So level 1 is like your very, very, very basic rides. I mean, I remember the first one I ever worked on was like a seal ride. It's for like really little kids, like a little water thing with like seals. That and tractors that are sort of like diggers or whatever they were. That are sort of, yeah, they were diggers, sort of like going around on a track. And then I remember at one point I was actually running both at the same time, which I thought was good. So that was like level 1, and then when I was there, I made it up to level 3 because I showed an interest in that. I wanted to progress at that time, and it was good fun. You're on your feet all the time. It's definitely a young person's gig or someone that's definitely fitter. I'm an overweight guy, so I struggled a little bit with some of the rides because it's quick, it's full on. You need to be 110% on it for safety and everything else. You've also got to be a people person, all right? Which I am, luckily. So it was absolutely amazing. The training is absolutely spot on. Nothing's left out. If you're worried about anything, they've got everything covered. Okay, absolutely everything covered. It's a family-run theme park, and one thing I really liked about it was they had everything covered. It is the cleanest place I've ever been. The team leaders walk around with like the litter pickers. They walk around with one of them. And any problem, if you're on a ride and there's a problem or you need a toilet or anything else, you can phone through. A team leader will come down very, very quickly, help you, or stand there and cover while you just quickly nip to the toilet, you know, or something like that. And in the meantime, they're going around picking up any sort of rubbish. Everywhere you go in Paultons Park, it's clean. It's pretty much immaculate. They go around, they're so well on it, it's unbelievable. In the canteen, tea, coffee, hot chocolate, like all juices, that's all free. You can have as much of that as you want. I actually remember at one point I was bringing, because it was quite cold when I was there in February, taking like 2 hot chocolates back for my break to the ride to put in the control room with me, so I could drink them. We also had a bit of a system where if you were covering someone, like your job for that day is just covering breaks, and you're going around and around and around, they would bring you back a cup of tea. You know what I mean? So everybody was having a drink, and it was really, really good. The food that they sell in the canteen is exactly the same as what they sell in the theme park, but at a dramatically reduced fraction of the cost, like stupidly cheap. So if you're going out into the, you know, if you go to a theme park or anywhere like that and you get like a hot dog for a tenner or whatever it is, they're big and they're good and you expect it. But in the canteen, when you're getting it for a couple of quid, it's just like, this is amazing. Do you know what I mean? I was on a diet at the time, so I was bringing packed lunches in. I lost quite a bit of weight working there. It was an amazing experience. They've got on-site nurses which help people out, you know, and the staff as well. So if you've got a situation like I hurt my back on one of the rides, you have to put the seat belts in and bits and pieces like that. I'm really bad with the names. But I'd done something to my back because I was rushing around and I'm overweight and I'm not very fit, and I actually hurt myself. So I went and saw the nurse before a shift the following day, and I said, look, I can't do this. And she went, okay, I'll take you off the ride. And I'm thinking, no, but I'm going to have to do it. And she said, no, if you can't do that, I'm going to make a note of it. She checked me over, we had a good conversation about it, and she said, right, well, I don't recommend you do this one, this one, and this one, and this one. And I was looking and I thought, that's actually really good. They really look after the staff. They really, really do look after the staff. I can't fault them with that. I mentioned to Jordan, one of the supervisors there, that I wanted to, what would be the odds of, just curiosity, of progressing in that, because I was absolutely loving it at the time. And the following day, he phoned me up and he said, do you want to also learn front of house, which is sort of like the ticket bits, like at the front. And in order to go anywhere up, you need to learn that. So they put me on that as well, and it was great. It was a good fun time. It really, really was. I can't fault them. If you're watching this and thinking, oh, but he's going to have a bad experience. No, I didn't. We'll get to the bad bits in a minute, all right? Because there's always bad with everything, all right? But there's also personal opinion. I can't fault them for their recruitment process. I can't fault them for their training. Their training is probably some of the best I've ever had anywhere. They are so thoughtful and on it. It's unbelievable. All of the staff are approachable. They're all friendly. Bar one, but we'll get to that. And it was fun. It was a fun place to work, but you've also got to remember health and safety. There's a couple of rides where you can't sit two adults together, so it's adult, child, sort of like that. So you need to be, on the ball for little bits and pieces like that. So all the drinks you can have were free. The food sold on site is subsidised, ridiculously cheap. I think they must be running it at a loss. They can't be making any money for how much they were selling some of this stuff. The cheese loaded fries, it's like huge, and it's practically nothing. It was great. It was really, really good. The only downsides was there was no contracted hours, and if it's pissing down with rain and there's not many people in there, they don't force you. I was never forced at any time to go home early, but you are asked, would you like to go home? And you can if you want. Obviously you're not going to get paid. You'll get paid for your hour or whatever it is turning up. But apart from that, it's good. Going back, I'm talking a lot here. The levels are, level 6 is like the highest you're going to get. And that's like a real privileged sort of level to get to. It's doable. I don't personally think it's doable in your first season. I think that was something that you'll get if you come back again the second season, because the level 6 rides are the real big ones. These are the ones that you are so on the ball with. You've got to make sure you are bang on. All right, these are like serious rides. These aren't little Ferris, little merry-go-round or anything like that. They're like big monster ones. So I completely understand that. So we've covered the food and drink. We've covered the training. Oh, you're all given a locker. I was given a locker because you can't carry a phone on you. I thought I was going to struggle with that, not having a phone in my pocket. But it was easy. I just stuck it in the locker, I locked it away, and I cracked on back at work. There was only one team leader that I didn't get on with. And I said I didn't get on with. I said hello to her a few times and she just completely ignored me. It was like this really little blonde girl. But I remember talking to another team leader, asked me, how are you getting on? I said, yeah, it's fine. But I think I might have upset her. And he said, no, it's not you. When you get to know her, she's really, really nice. And I'm sure she absolutely is. I've done a little bit of training with her out in the car park. She seemed all right, but I just don't think we gelled. But I've had minimal to do with her. The rest of the team leaders are absolutely outstanding. They were uni students, uni grads maybe. But these are people that have started at the bottom and they've worked their way up. And they were good fun to talk to. I enjoyed it when they came round to do checks and bits and pieces like that. And they would talk. I would listen and I would have a laugh and a joke with them. Especially if it's not busy or anything like that. I would stand there and have a chat. And they they're so open. It seemed like a job that was too good to be true. At Paultons Park, obviously you've got Peppa Pig World. So you got a lot of people coming, a lot of kids coming for birthdays and, you know, bits and pieces like that. So what I used to do is at the beginning of my shift, I used to go down to the medical office, see the nurse and get a load of birthday badges. Because you'll get like a Paultons Park, it's my birthday badge. And I'd grab a load of them and I'd stick them in my pocket. So even though they give them out at the entrance, if they know it's your birthday, the staff will give you a badge. Not many kids or parents do, they just sort of go in. So what I used to do is, especially when they're in the queue and that, I might see they might have something, it's my birthday, and I'll be saying, oh, is it your birthday today? I've got this for you. And it was just given that, you know, I felt good going that extra mile, and the parents liked it as well. It's, for a family-run business, I've worked for family businesses before, this by far is the best. There wasn't anyone senior in that company, even the one I didn't really get on with, there wasn't anyone in that company that's not approachable, hasn't got a smile, doesn't want to help you or anything like that. They are fantastic. I can't thank Jordan, Danny, Amy, and do you know, there was a guy in HR, I can't actually remember his name now, I feel really bad now. I can't thank them enough. It was one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life. And the only reason that I left is because my support work job came up with contracted hours. It was safer. And I knew at the end of the season, come October, November, no, I don't even know when, but they closed for a certain period of time, like over Christmas and, you know, and bits and pieces like that, where I wouldn't have been needed. So I would have been out of work, and I wasn't really earning enough to have saved to cover those months and then come back the following season. I really, really wish I could. I really wish I could. It's a job I miss. It's something that, even though I'm in a good job now, which is, I'm doing well, I'm doing all right, I do want to go back, even if it's like 1 day a week, 2 days a week, just for like one season. I think it'd be absolutely amazing. The only downside I had, which bothered me because I felt sorry for a lot of people, I felt really sorry for my team leaders, I felt sorry for the supervisors, I felt sorry for the management, and that was Easter Sunday. I don't recommend anyone go to Paultons Park, or any theme park for that matter, on Easter Sunday. Because on Easter Sunday, I was working, and I remember getting up early with the kids. We'd done the Easter eggs and everything, and it was the first Easter that I've ever worked. I've always been lucky, to be fair. And I came to work. There was a look of concern on some people's faces that had worked there for previous seasons. I didn't think anything of it until they opened, and the park was overrun with the Irish travellers. And they were, so I've got a scratch, itch. They were jumping over the barriers at the front. They rushed, a lot of them. Not all of them were bad. Not all of them, but there were a selected few. And I was working in Peppa Pig that day on the boat ride, Grandpa's boat. And I had a lot of trouble the entire day with them. Kids jumping in the water, parents smoking cans of beer, chucking the beer in the water. And it's Peppa Pig. It was bad, and they were really drunk and really aggressive. There were a lot where the kids were done up to the nines. They looked amazing. They were having a really good day. They were really respectful. So let's not tar everybody with the same brush, because I had a lot of people there that were shaking my hand, happy Easter. You know, the kids were really well behaved. They were dressed really smart. It was a good day out for them. But there were a lot, especially the kids that were left unsupervised. They were going, and there was, because in Peppa Pig, when you're there, I don't know if you've ever been, they get a lot of ducks walking around, which live there. And a lot of these kids were trying to kick the ducks. So I was bollocking people left, right and centre, because I don't tolerate stuff like that, especially with health and safety, you know. and I'm having to emergency stop the ride because a kid has decided to stand up on the boat and jump in the water. There's a steel arm under the water which is moving everything around. If I hadn't have stopped it when I did it, it would have killed him. I feel so sorry for the team leaders that day that were having to deal with all of this. I feel sorry for the security that had to deal with all this. I feel sorry for the other staff. I'll tell you what, I'm a big guy. I'm covered in tattoos. I've got a beard. I didn't get as much trouble as some of the other ones, but I saw a lot of the younger people that work there, 17, 18, 19, that have just left school, they're in college and they've got weekend work or whatever, crying their eyes out because of the amount of aggravation they were getting. So that was one day that I wished I had pre-booked a holiday. You know what I mean? It was hardcore. It was hardcore. But apart from that, working there was brilliant. You get 5 tickets a month for free. I think it was a month. I can't remember now. That's just come into my head. I had a pass which got me in anytime I wanted to go. Straight in, bang, you can go straight in. Great. And then the staff, there's like, it's called Hoot. You get this, there's like, they've got their own website for the staff that you can go on, and there's like different things you can talk to people and swap shifts, and there's loads of different stuff that you can do on it. Everything's thought out. And I'm sure there was a thing on there that you could get tickets, X amount of tickets. I'm not sure if it was per month, or every 2 months, every 3 months, something like that. But you could get tickets. And once you'd used your tickets, if there was a member of staff that's just like, mate, I ain't got kids, I ain't even going to come here, you can get them to get you the tickets, and that's absolutely fine. Because I checked with one of the managers, and they were like, no, it's fine. If they want to get the tickets and give them to you, whatever, it's done. It's fine. They're really laid back, very professional, and I just love how clean it was. Everything's cleaned. You know what I mean? You're walking around the theme park. I've been to Chesington recently, and there was crap all over the floor, and I'm thinking, oh my God, you know. And I've heard rumours about the staff areas not being that great. Paultons Park was immaculate. The staff room was like a show home. It was absolutely bang on. So yeah, this is my video just going into what it's really like working for Paultons Park. If you can, do. Even if you just couldn't do it for a couple of days a week just for a season, it is an eye-opener working in there. The gardens are amazing. This is one of those things that when as a kid going to a theme park, I wasn't interested in having a look at the gardens. I just wanted to go on the rides and get the food and then go home, gift shop and that. But on my break, I was there and I'm looking around at different bits and pieces. Just going back to the breaks. So if you were to get an hour break at say 12 o'clock until 1, and you're over a far part of the theme park, when you get relieved at say 12 for argument's sake, then you've got that 10-minute walk to the main building. That's part of your break. So if you've got 10 minutes walking there, 10 minutes walking back, that's 20 minutes of your break out of the way. Think about that. If I can do it, if I can do it, anyone can do it. But that was something that used to wind me up a little bit, because you're like, if you're really far away and you've got, then they come and relieve, and a member of staff comes and relieves you for a 15-minute break, and you want to use the toilet, it's going to take you ages to walk over there. Do you know what I mean? And you can't use the toilets out in the park, you use the staff ones. But yeah, this is just my video going all around the houses, talking about what it's really like to work at Paultons Park. Personally, it's 10 out of 10, 6 stars. It was absolutely amazing. It's an experience I would really love to do again. I can't thank the owners, the team leaders I worked with at the time, they've probably all changed now, and the supervisors. I can't thank them enough for giving me such a wonderful opportunity to tick something off my bucket list of being a ride operator. It was fun. It was a really, really good job. If you can work in a theme park, even if it's just for a couple of months, do it. It's life-changing. Please, if you're still watching at this point, please subscribe. Please give it a like. Leave a comment. Let me know if you've worked there or if you're thinking about working there. And I'll see you in another video sometime soon. Take care. Bye-bye.